So Joe Biden is inaugurated as the 46th president on Wednesday, January 20th. And the media and celebrities like J-Lo and Lady Gaga were, there to heap praise, kiss his feet, give all sorts of adoration, because he's, don't say mean things on Twitter like Trump. And, that's what all politics is about. Just don't say mean things. And I guess you get elected. But, Kamala Harris is, the first woman, first Indian black person, just person that's not white, to be vice president. Okay, whoop-de-doo. So, look, just because something is historical doesn't make it worthy of praise. I mean, just like Obama in 2009, I couldn't care less about being the first anything if that person is promoting higher taxes, suppression of free speech, killing babies, infringing on law-abiding citizens, their rights to bear arms, giving LGBTQIZUP, whatever, superiority over religious freedom, subjecting the federal government to accept the insidious critical race theory of retaliation and retribution, more regulations and bureaucracy just go run wild, selling out our nation's sovereignty to the rest of the world, enabling illegal immigration and rewarding those criminals with citizenship, along with thousands in their administration, along with Democrat control in the House and Senate that will do the same. Your historic moment is worthless in comparison. All the pearls in the world can't cover that cesspool that is the policies of the Democrat Party.
From the highways of America, here's the podcast where we talk politics, a little entertainment, some culture, and this and that, from the road to your ears. This is Trend Chat with your host, Brian Bledsoe.
All right, so welcome to Trend Chat. I am your host, Brian Bledsoe. And if you want to get in touch with us, look, I mean, at this point, with all the, as I mentioned, talking about suppression of free speech, I mean, we're kind of everywhere now. We were on Parler. I mean, but if you don't know, Parler is at this moment still shut down. But we're on there. I think we just started on Gab, so that's at Trend Chat on Gab, on the Gab. So, I mean, we're still on Instagram and Twitter at Brian L. Bledsoe. So still check us out there, and also at Trend Chat 24/7 on Facebook. But I feel like, well, I guess before we get to as far as to episode 200, I mean, maybe won't have that many channels, but. Yeah, so if you want to contact us that way, and also something I don't mention often, our email address is trendchat247@gmail.com. So that's another way to contact us as well. So look, if you can hear all that in the intro and dismiss it because, look, you want free, quote unquote, free college or health care, or maybe just because Biden is just nicer, just a nice guy. He doesn't say, like I said, again, he don't say mean things and whatever like that. He has better rhetoric or whatever like that, whatever. So, I mean, for one, that's pretty short-sighted, selfish, and quite frankly, ignorant. And honestly, it's a shame if you're one of those people that are listening. Look, it's a shame you even vote. Be honest. I mean, look, yeah, I mean, it's your right to vote. Not trying to say, trying to take away your right and nothing like that. No, it's your right. But I mean, really, people's priorities are just screwed up. I mean, to the detriment to the Constitution of this country and to just the freedom in general. I mean, look, that's why I just need to look up getting a dual citizenship somewhere. But where actually? Because everywhere else is just as screwed up too. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Maybe just go live in Antarctica or something and watch y'all just live in ruin, that y'all give away y'all rights and away to the socialists and live like a new slave just because, Biden's a nice guy. So, but, anyway, is that a bit harsh or whatever? Whatever. Look, we're almost done as far as here we are, episode 194, getting close to 200. So look, it is what it is. Another thing, I never really gave much thought before about the whole issue of secession. And I'm saying that right now because you had someone propose a bill, especially in Texas, with that particular request about seceding from the union and all. And for one, as soon as you mention that word, everyone start thinking violence, and like it's, like Civil War and stuff. But it doesn't have to be that way. I mean, it doesn't. You can do it peacefully, but, it tends not to go that way. So that's one reason why, something don't really ain't looking for no Civil War, nothing. They ain't looking for, none of that. But if there was a peaceful way to just, okay, look, we just living in two totally different ways, as far as how we live our lives. I mean, at this point, it just seems like there's just no point. As far as Biden talking about unity and all that, I mean, how can you unify with people living in two diametrically opposed worldviews? I mean, how can you even govern that way? I mean, it's not even where okay, some believe here a little bit more on this end, or a little bit more on that end, but we still agree on fundamental issues. That's not even the case anymore. We don't agree on fundamentals of gender, on the fundamentals about life. And yeah, just simple stuff. I mean, yeah. So, but yeah, like I said, I haven't really gave much thought about it. But now, I would love if there was a peaceful way to do this. If some sort of just breaking off and just doing, living in just thought another country. If Texas was just by itself or something, not saying Texas is just, the beacon of conservatism. I mean, cause it ain't. I know it seems that way if you're outside of Texas, but trust me, we got just as many, rhinos and people who, claim to be limited government, but once they get to Austin, they're totally fakes. So, and there's a good portion of them. So, and speaking of that, they're back in session. So, and, down in Austin. And speaking of that, since the last episode, I was planning to go down there and, to go inside, because I did go to Austin on the first day of the session, which was January 12th, and I went down there, but on the way to Austin, I found out that the Department of Public Safety put out a statement saying that you would have to take a rapid COVID test to even enter the building at the Capitol down in Austin. And once I saw that, I knew I wasn't going to go inside if taking a test is, something I had to do. Mainly because, for one, the rapid tests are not as accurate. And so the chances of a false positive are higher. And I'm not going to take that risk, especially with my job. I'm not showing any symptoms or anything like that. So, with, me being on the road and the possibility of some sort of, false positive or, saying I have it, then I have to, go through jump through all these hoops just to get back on the road. And even if if it came out positive, then if I want to take another test, and that's another day off. And so, yeah. So I didn't even want to go through all that hassle, potentially, cause I mean, it could easily, obviously I would think it would show that I was, that I don't have it or whatever like that, and just go on inside. But the other side of it, the possibility and the potential of missing 2 weeks, just because of a false positive test, it just, I'm not getting paid to go, to do anything, so yeah, unless I was doing something, unless I was going there to testify in person, maybe, even then, I don't know if I want to do it just to testify, even though I did, I wanted to do more on the state level this year. That was kind of a goal, I guess, for this year, as opposed to kind of doing a lot of stuff, outside of Texas. I wanted to kind of focus on that. I guess whatever that's going to entail is going to have to be outside the Capitol if they still have that, because I'm not going to take that risk of being off the road for 2 weeks at least, just because. So anyway, I haven't even mentioned that we have a guest for this episode, even though you hear her every time you play this, an episode of Trent Chat. And so, it's a Hilary Kennedy, who she does the intro, for this very podcast. So we'll talk with her about a number of things. Actually, the plan when we started this interview was to talk about UFC 257, and that, and we did talk about that, but we also got to talking about stock, the stock market, and other stuff just about a website and other things. So I really enjoyed the interview, as always, with Hilary. So yeah, that's coming up. But before we get to that, now that Joe Biden is in office, and now, like I said, Democrats having control of both houses, the House and the Senate, and Democrats are just ready to, planning to spend, adding more to the debt. Now look, let me just say this right now. Look, President Trump spent, he spent money too. He kept the government spending as well, so he added to the debt, too. So I'm not gonna act like, it just it hasn't happened in the past 4 years. It has, and that was something when I said I was thinking about, with Heritage Action as a symbol, because every time one of those bills would come up about, more government spending, we would try to be out there and say, look, you need to cut the spending, but that just never happened. And that's not a surprise. I'm not saying like it was something where it came out of nowhere, because even during the campaign when President Trump was running, he wasn't running as someone that's as far as like a fiscal conservative in that sense, and so it wasn't surprising about that particular aspect as far as spending goes. So yeah, so we already have that. But here's I guess the difference in that. As a whole, as far as Republicans don't typically run their campaign on spending, where they say like, oh look, we're going to spend money on this and this and that. They don't say spend. Democrats have changed that word. They say invest, but invest is just the same thing as spending taxpayer money. But Republicans don't run on that. So they run during the campaign, especially during the primary, especially if they got like a conservative primary challenger. They run saying that they're going to be fiscally responsible, and they're going to, we're for less spending, and I'm going to go up to DC and going to advocate for less spending, and we need to quit spending the taxpayer money, stuff like that. And then they get elected and keep spending, like the majority of them. So majority, I said more than half, 60% of Republicans just go along, and then Democrats, that's all they do. That's what they do is spend. And so Democrats, on the other hand, they run on spending money. Like I said, they don't say spending. They always say, like, we're investing in this program and that program and this and that and whatever. And so yeah, they have no shame in when they get the power to when it comes to spend. There's no limit to what they want to spend when it comes to their proposal. So yeah, so that's what we're looking at for the next at least 2 years. I keep wanting. I want to say 4 years, but midterms are coming up in 2 years, so hopefully there is something that happened in there. Maybe hope too much spending will catch people's attention. I highly doubt it. I'm very pessimistic, especially at this point, about people as far as the majority of people, because you don't need everyone to feel that way. You just need enough to change. Just look at these runoffs that just happened in Georgia and everywhere. You had these close elections, and look, you just need 51%. That's all you need. So as long as they get 51% of people who want all this crap and want to give away everything they have, that's all they need. They don't need 100%. So anyway, I guess let's get off the depression. I guess the depression. I guess how it sounds. Just keeping it real. I guess that's how I feel right now. But yeah. So I guess we'll move on from this and get to our 2-hour interview with Hilary. So after a word from Young Americans Against Socialism, we'll get right into it.
Hey guys, this is Morgan Zegers, the founder and CEO of Young Americans Against Socialism. We are a nonprofit organization working to preserve a free, fair, and prosperous America for generations to come, all by equipping our generation with the truth about socialism. If you're interested in watching our educational videos, donating to the cause, joining the Ask Coalition, or becoming a contributor, you can do all of these things at fightsocialism.org. We hope you'll join us in this crucial fight for the future of our great country. Thanks!
This is Dana Lash, and you're listening to Trend Chat.
Trend Chat is proud to be a part of the hashtag Life Tribe of Cultural Life as they seek to celebrate life through the world of fashion. Go to COL1972.com and get 10% off your purchase when you enter the code Trend Chat. All right, so yeah, like I said a couple of minutes ago, have this interview with Hilary Kennedy, and actually this was a video interview, which I haven't done, and I've actually done 2 already, which I didn't think I was going to do more than 1, but I already done 2. So this is the second one that I did. I did my first one was a couple of days ago, but this was actually done like yesterday. and so yeah, so this interview, like the whole episode won't be on YouTube. Well, other than how it's usually on YouTube as far as just showing, there's not a video to the whole episode. But this particular interview will be posted on YouTube by itself. So anyway, without further ado, here is our interview with Hilary. Hello, this is Trent Chat. You hear her on every episode in the beginning in our intro, and she is the best Hilary by far, by far. And so everyone see it's Hilary Kennedy. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me back on.
So yes, so now I guess when I'm doing these video interviews, I guess maybe even though I look exactly the same, but I noticed my background, you can see the flag and all that, yeah. But I'm in Roswell, New Mexico, So, and just got everything set up right now, and just I guess it's a little more context I need to add because normally everything is audio, but yeah, so I'm just providing that little bit of context. But we're going to talk about a couple of things, but we're going to definitely talk about UFC 257, which is coming up.
Saturday
So,
night.
yep. And so I'm looking forward to seeing it somewhere, wherever I'm at. I have no idea where I'll be on Saturday, but hopefully, if not, I maybe just have to watch it on my phone as I've been doing actually, because in the past year or so, because of COVID, bars, all that been closed. So most of the time, if I'm going to watch anything, it's going to be on my phone. So
Same here. It's been really hard because with pay-per-view, it is expensive. So unless you can get several friends to like chip in and come over, and because of COVID, that's also much tougher to do. So I've been doing the same thing, just trying to catch it on my phone whenever I can.
yeah, and so I know when I haven't even watched. I think I haven't watched any UFC pay-per-views in a while. I've been watching the fight nights though. So because I had ESPN Plus, so I've been watching those. But when I heard the news, seeing that Conor McGregor is coming back, I was thinking that while we have this whole COVID thing, I was thinking like he ain't coming back until everybody's back in the arena. But so he's coming back for that. But actually, I don't want to get into that yet. That's gonna be last. So I just want to first I want to mention, because you were on the news and Why It Matters for a couple of months while Sarah was at home for maternity leave.
I was.
And actually, so I just want to ask you, how was that? How was those few months?
It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. It was so nice of Sarah and Blaze Media to trust me with the show for a little over 3 months while she was gone. And I'm obviously a very different energy than Sarah because she is so larger than life and so passionate and such a huge Trump supporter. And I am more of a moderator. I love to present the topics and then listen to what the experts have to say. And that's really what I loved the most about it is I didn't give a whole lot of my own opinions because for me, when I was filling in on the show, I really wanted to hear what the experts had to say. So every episode I got to learn something that I didn't know before or hear a perspective that I hadn't considered. So I loved it because it was almost like getting to take a college class for 3 months from all of these amazing people that study these things, that are passionate about these topics and had a lot to say.
Yeah, I was actually there for one of them when I was visiting the studio, and so yeah, it was the first time actually being in that one. Actually, because I've been to the others, but it was the first time being in that particular set. And so yeah, I was there. I think that was when Chad and Eric was on there on that day.
Yeah.
And but yeah, it's actually it's bigger than how you see it on TV.
It is. Well, and I have pitched you to the producers because I think you would be such a good fit to come on that show. You've got such a good, fresh, and fun perspective on things. So hopefully you'll be in the hot seat there sometime soon.
Well, I appreciate it. I mean, I guess maybe, one day y'all see me on there. So I appreciate the shout out. Now, as far as so with the past year and everything that's going on with the pandemic, I'm guessing that probably didn't hamper too much of your voiceover work.
No, I will say starting the end of February until maybe August, it killed a lot of my freelance work because so many people were afraid to move forward with projects. They didn't know what was going to happen with the economy. A lot of businesses were hurting and having to lay people off. And so it was such an uncertain time that a lot of my freelance work was definitely impacted. But around August, September, everything ramped back up. People started going full force. Everything's changed a little bit. Every audition is now via Zoom or via Skype. Nothing's in person anymore. If you book a job, they want you to take a COVID test. You have to wear a mask at all times on set if you're doing something in person. So it's definitely changed things a little bit, but for the most part, all the other aspects of my life remained pretty much the same because working in media, you're an essential worker. So I was still going to work every day. my husband and I still went out once everything was opened up last May. We went out to dinner. We eat out all the time because I don't cook. So we were going out, trying to get together with, friends, just trying to live life as normally as possible.
Now that you said about going out and saying that you don't cook, but yet you have a kitchen in the background.
I do have a kitchen. It doesn't get a whole lot of use, I'm going to be honest. When my mom or my sister comes over, it gets a lot of use, but not from me.
Well, it's a nice kitchen nevertheless.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
Now, I mean, as far as trying to get into everything about the kitchen, I'm pretty sure you probably have talked more about it on your website as well.
Oh, yes, I have. We bought an older home right kind of at the height of the pandemic. We sold our house, which was kind of scary at first because everyone kept saying in the news that houses weren't going to sell, that the stock market was going to tank, that real estate was going to be terrible. And we actually ended up selling our home, praise God, in less than 2 weeks, which was awesome. So we bought an older home that was built in 1989, and so we are remodeling it. So this was the first room that we started with, and so the kitchen is almost done. But again, with the pandemic, it's delayed a lot of things. So if you're ordering anything or trying to hire contractors, a lot of stuff is on back order, or contractors have been swamped because so many people decided after they sat at home for months that they wanted to redo their houses. So just like us, we've been trying to hire everybody.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, when you got that much time on your hands, I mean, especially at home, you start looking around. It's like, you know what, maybe I need to fix that, or maybe I need to change that, or something like that. So yeah, I can understand all that. But I know with everything as far as, like I said, the economy and you mentioned the stock market. I remember because I kind of dibble and dabble there with the stock market, and I remember it was March. They were like the third week in March of last year. I mean, it's like everything just went down, went all the way down to the floor. It felt like it. Yeah. And for a long time. And yeah, just on the stock market aspect, because it's just something, because like I said, it's just something I dabble with. And just when you mentioned that reminded me of yeah, it was down for a while.
It was scary. I think a lot of people didn't know what to do. Do I pull my money out of the stock market? Do I keep my money in the bank? Do I buy Bitcoin? Do I not buy Bitcoin? All that keeps coming up too. So it's just been a many months of uncertainty. And those are the times where I'm like, well, I'm glad I'm a woman of faith and can just pray because God's in control, because there really hasn't been a whole lot we've been able to do, where all these things have been out of our control. So we've just been having to have faith that it'll all work out.
I mean, I guess the old adage that you hear when it comes to stocks in particular, look, I'm not trying to turn this to a stock segment, but what you hear is that buy low and sell high. Yep. And so that was the time. I mean, looking back at it now, just looking at the graph of the stock market, if you look at that like the third week of March to now, for the people, if anybody bought anything right around that time, it probably has doubled its worth.
Yeah.
So
I looked really closely at buying stock in some of the cruise lines because they were really struggling and their stock had gone way down. And I thought, well, cruises aren't going to just disappear off the face of the earth. And so I thought long and hard about that. I ended up buying some cryptocurrency instead, not Bitcoin, but how they have all these other alternative currencies. Because Bitcoin was still pretty high, but they're doing all right. They're not doing great, but they're doing okay.
They're doing pretty. Yeah, I mean, wow, it feels like it turned into a stock segment, but when you mentioned Bitcoin, because so I use Robinhood. This is not an advertisement. Hey, if they want to, hey, be my guest. But I use Robinhood, so I was able to buy. I didn't have to buy a whole Bitcoin. I guess I could just buy a fraction of it.
Right. So
being able to do that really helped, because I definitely couldn't buy like one because it was like $9,000. Yeah. And look, I don't have that type of money. I know I'm doing the podcast and everything, but trust me, I'm not making that type of money. So, but yeah.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, it's good to have just like a little piece of everything. I feel like, having your hand in a couple different cookie jars, it can be a thing.
Yeah, diversifying your portfolio, I guess that's another adage people say. Yeah. So to move away from the stock because I am definitely no financial advisor. So, and so in talking about your, your voiceover work, I remember last time we had you on there where you mentioned about, well, you already mentioned about doing auditions and you have to do everything via Zoom. But I know you mentioned one thing that it really stuck with me only because I just found it funny and something I remember I tell people a lot when I talk about, that particular interview is that that you did commercials for like drug companies where you were the voice that was saying, side effects may include X, Y, and Z.
Here's these 50 things, right?
So have you done it?
I was like, okay, I'm not going to be taking any prescription drugs anymore.
So have with everything that's been going on, and have you gone to do a couple more? I don't know if you can mention them, but as far as any more of this voiceover work?
I actually do voiceover work for, it's local to Texas, but a Cadillac, Infiniti, and Volvo dealerships. So I do all of their their TV spots every month, which is a lot of fun. I've done several corporate spots this year just for different companies because so many of them are having to have their big leadership conventions or conferences virtually. So now they want someone to kind of voice those. So that's been really cool. I did get approached about doing a commercial about the coronavirus and constantly wearing your mask and all of those things. And I said, that's not for me. But so that was kind of interesting. So there have been a lot of those like public service announcement auditions lately for all the stuff that's been going on.
I can imagine if you was approached to do like the corona vaccine one and had to go down through all the side effects and all that.
Right, exactly. Like may cause death after the second. No, I don't know. It's been really crazy because again, there's so much information out there and you don't know which is accurate and which isn't accurate. And I think it's just been such a confusing time for people because, so many people are super excited about it. I have family members that just got it this past week and they were very excited about it. And then there are other people who are terrified of it and say, well, I saw all these people in Norway died from it. So it's been really hard to know what to do for a lot of people.
Yeah. So now to the main event. So the top, so UFC 257 is coming up. Like I said, on Saturday. I forgot the date. It was in the top of my head. You know the actual date?
23rd, I believe.
3rd. Okay. Yeah, I don't have my calendar in front of me. Okay, yeah. So on the 23rd, and so yes, I am. I'm looking forward, obviously, to the main event. Dustin Poirier and Conor McGregor. I guess, give us your analysis about the upcoming fight.
Okay, so I think this is going to be such a great fight for people that are maybe just obviously if you're a huge fan, you're going to love it. But if you're just a casual MMA fan and you watch UFC occasionally, I think this is going to be a great one to watch because Poirier and McGregor are both great strikers. And so it's going to be an exciting fight, I think. If Poirier can make it past the first round, because when they fought back in 2014, Conor knocked him out in less than 2 minutes in the first round. Yeah. So now Poirier's grown tremendously since then. It's turned into a really formidable fighter. So I think it's going to be a great matchup, and I think we're going to see a lot of blows on their feet, which is what makes the fight exciting. I don't want to see a bunch of on the ground sides. I want to see people up striking each other. So I think
you don't want to see the ground and pound, as you say.
That's right. So I think it's going to be a really exciting fight, and it's one that I think, too, has a lot of heart because Poirier, when he started out back in 2014 and he and McGregor were both on the rise, he really let Conor's trash talk get to him. He was very emotional. He was far too invested in the emotional side of the fight, and it threw him off his game. So this time I think he's grown and matured, but he has this great story. He was a high school dropout. He's worked very hard to make something of himself, and he's also started this great foundation, the Good Fight Foundation, and huge stars like Khabib Nurmagomedov and McGregor. They're all making donations to his foundation, which I think is really cool. So he's a super charitable guy. He's worked hard to get to where he is. So he's got a great underdog story. And then McGregor's, he's the star of the sport. He's made it what it is today. There isn't a person alive, love him or hate him, that doesn't like to watch Conor McGregor.
Yeah, that's true because I'm pretty sure that the buy rate is going to be, it's going to be the highest, at least in the past year of all, especially with everything that's been going on.
I think so too. And McGregor hasn't fought in a year. The last time he fought was last January when he fought Cowboy Cerrone. So he's had a whole year to work out, train, get in the best shape of his life. And so I think there's going to be a lot of people tuning in and a lot of people placing bets. I was reading that there's already been, I think, 2 or 3 bets, maybe more, that have gone for over $100,000 where people are betting on McGregor being the winner. So a lot of money could be made on Saturday night.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. Now, I don't know. Have you seen any of the embedded videos? I haven't seen really any of them lately. But have you seen the one for this one coming up?
I haven't actually.
Okay. So, well, the only thing about it is, so they're fighting at Fight Island in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
And so one thing like I said, I haven't been watching the other ones for the for the previous pay-per-views, but first thing I noticed is that the protocol that they go through as far as having everybody quarantined and everything. And so I just found it, so if you get a chance to watch it later on, it just, when Conor shows up at the hotel, I think he's at the W Hotel over there in Abu Dhabi, and when he arrives, y'all, everybody is literally in hazmat suits. When he comes in, everybody, I mean, they got the gloves, they got the full suits on and everything, like, when he comes in. And I was just like, wow, I mean, the protocol and everything that they go through, I mean, and I understand because, especially between those two in particular, because you don't want anybody, hitting positive before the fight.
Yes, absolutely. They worked so hard to get to this point, and it could lead to a title fight depending on who wins. And Khabib even said he might be willing to come out of retirement if he sees someone who interests him, Saturday night, so that he could have a 30-0 perfect record. So who knows if that's true or not. He seemed like he was. I took him seriously when he said he was going to retire, unlike Conor, who has retired like 3 or 4 times. It's all for show. But Khabib, I thought, really was ready to walk away, and maybe he's not done. Maybe he's got one more fight left in him. So I don't want anybody testing positive for coronavirus for lots of reasons, but especially because there's so much riding on this fight.
Yeah, I know. I saw when Dana White was talking about his conversation, and I think what Dana said there was, as far as at the time when he announced his retirement, he was in a very emotional place at that time because his father just died and a lot of stuff was going on.
Right.
So maybe now that he is saying that he is thinking about it, and like I said, like what Dana said, I think was very true as far as maybe a lot of emotions were going on at the time, and now he's had some time to kind of sit back. Maybe maybe now I'm pretty sure, even regardless of what happened, I think he's going to come out sooner or later. For at least one more fight, at least.
Yeah, I hope he does. I would love to see he and McGregor fight again. I don't know that that's going to happen. They've had so much bad blood, but that would be an awesome rematch.
Yeah. So I mean, well, first off, do you have any other fights in the card that you maybe are looking to?
So I didn't know a lot of the other fighters. I haven't, again, this year has been a hard year to follow the fights as closely as I normally do just because of the election and everything that's been going on there. And I was working on 2 shows. There's one other major fight. I've got it. I didn't follow either of these fighters, and my husband was like, no, this is going to be an amazing matchup. Michael Chandler and Dan Hooker. So
okay, yeah.
I know, but I haven't watched them fight all that often, and so that's going to be a really good one too. People are excited about that. But the other names on the card, I was kind of like, I'll be interested to watch them fight, but I'm really there just for McGregor and Poirier.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure the majority of people are as well. I mean, myself included, because like I said, I haven't watched one, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to watch this one. So before we go, I guess tell us about HilaryKennedy.com.
Oh, thanks for asking. Yeah, I have a website with a blog, and I just kind of do a little bit of lifestyle stuff, tell people about what we're doing. So I have a couple posts about us remodeling our kitchen and walking through like what we did there since we moved into this older home. It's kind of interesting to share with people the things that we're changing, how we're budgeting, the stuff that we're choosing for in the house, because a lot of that was stuff I didn't know. I've never remodeled a house before. So I'm doing a lot of that. And then I also have a 2-year-old son. So I write some things about, things that are good for toddlers, whether it's toys or food or activities. So I've been doing a lot of that. And then, of course, I love style and fashion and beauty and all the girly stuff. So I write about some of that, too. So on my social media, a lot of my Twitter and Instagram, I will talk about some work things. But on my blog, it's a lot of my personal life.
Okay. Well, you already mentioned social media. So if people want to find you on social media and get in contact outside of, I guess, other than HilaryKennedy.com, where would it go?
They would go to Instagram. I'm just at Hilary Kennedy, and that's Hilary with 1 L. So HilaryKennedy.
All right. I just want to say thank you for being on, these past couple of times. And also, again, I thank you all the time for doing the intro for the show, and definitely want to say thank you a million times, as much as possible. So just thank you for everything you've done.
Well, Brian, I really appreciate it. You were so kind to invite me on and include me, and you've done an amazing job. You put together a great show, and you have some awesome guests. So I feel really lucky to be a part of it.
All right. Well, I had the best Hilary on just now, and so it is complete now. So thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely. You take care.
Commentary as subtle as a sledgehammer. This is Trend Chat.
This is Lacey Williams, the founder and president of Expressions Magazine, letting you know that you can order our quarterly magazine and support female conservatives by visiting express-conservatism.com, or you can follow us on social media. On Instagram with the username of expressions_conservemag, or on Twitter with the handle of @express_conserve. Get your copy today.
All right. So thanks again to Hilary for joining us. And so I actually know what next, I guess the next episode, I'm not going to say next week. The next episode, it's going to be in the next couple of weeks. I'm working for next week, but we'll be talking about the play Hamilton, actually. And we'll bring back another returning guest. The makeup historian, Sarah Long, will be joining us to talk about Hamilton and, the historical accuracy or inaccuracies of the play and just other things. And so it was that was the first video interview was with her, was doing that, because I've been planning to do that for a while. And just, I saw Hamilton on Disney Plus, and I'll mention in the interview, so I'll wait till then, but there was a part in that actual play that inspired me to want to actually have Sarah on to talk about it, which, like I said, which I mentioned in the interview, so I'll wait till then. So yeah, that's that's rare that I actually know what's the next the next episode is going to be, because this always, it's from episode to episode with me. If you've been with Trend Chat for any period of time, that's pretty much how it is. So, but a tradition that we have started probably about half a year or so, but we're going to continue it now as we continue to shout out these locations. And there we go. All right, let me turn that down. So in this list, starting off with the cities, okay, this is a new one, but it's in Connecticut. Stonington, sounds about right. Kapoor, India. Kolkata, India. Laval, Canada. I don't know that one. Been on there before. Loveland, Colorado. Hamburg, Germany. Lucknow, India. I'm about to say Indiana. India. Alexandria, Virginia. Butler, Pennsylvania. And at the top is Mansfield, Texas. All right. Cool. And as the countries go, we have Canada, Finland, Germany, India, as always, and obviously United States. But as far as the percentages go for the countries, it's like 68% United States, and then 17% India, 8% Germany, and then 2% for Finland and Canada. So, as always, I appreciate everyone listening, and I'm always just again, look. I know it's gonna sound like, oh, he's just repeating himself, but look, I'm really shocked to see, especially, to see other countries that listen. I mean, I don't know how that works. I mean, I know how it works as far as you can go to the podcast, go to Apple or any the podcast outlets like that and find us. It's just the fact that especially seeing India on there. It's been on there for a while. Like ever since we launched with that that distributor that is primarily in India, it's been consistently on the list and with particular cities. So again, and this goes for everyone, but in saying that, especially for people who are listening internationally, I would definitely like to get some feedback. Just go to email trendchat247@gmail.com, and you can I guess just let me know how you like the show. So yeah. So again, appreciate everyone listening, and this has been a cathartic episode, I must say, for me. I can't say I watched the inauguration. I wasn't going to. I didn't. Kind of reminded me of when Obama was inaugurated. I remember that. There was a truck stop, and it was playing on every TV in the truck stop, and I was there to get some gas, and I got my gas, and I went on. So, and I know, like, on inauguration day, I was working. I mean, with this new administration coming in, I'm gonna need to work, because make you have to work even harder because of all the taxes they're going to raise on you. Anyway, appreciate everyone listening. And until next time, we'll chat with you later.